Hey everyone, Kent's editor Kay here, and he decided to point out to me that 95% of you are not subscribed to our channel. How are we supposed to feed the shop dogs without any views? If you want to let us know what you prefer to watch, what we need to change to make this channel more enjoyable for you, please leave it in the comments. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks!
Welcome back to the Wood Middle Workshop. I'm Kent. Starting on a new project today. As you've already seen, we made a couple of hinges. You saw me make one, I made two. So what I need is a sheet metal brake. I've got my D'Arco, love it. Unfortunately, it's only 24 inches long. I need almost 5 feet. So a little 56 inches, something like that. So, gonna make one, and we're gonna make it so it bolts down to the work table. I got 4 bolts in here in the holes that I want to use. I'm gonna use these little socket head flathead bolts. Got 4 of them. So we're gonna kind of line this up, draw some lines, do some layout, and get this first piece ready to go. So, come along, we'll get this done. Alright, first thing I have to do is kind of line it up where I want it on the bench. This is just a rough piece of steel, nothing spectacular, hot rolled, 1/2 inch by 4 or 5. I think it's 5. 4. Okay. So, just left over from a different project. So I just kind of want to center it on the bench here, roughly. That's 1 inch at that end. There's 1 inch at that end. Okay, so we're good there. So now we just need some layout stuff. Lay out my holes. I'm just going to take square it up, butt it up to the edge of the bolt, and just scribe a line. Then I'll do the other side. So we know that this overhangs 1 inch. That looks pretty good. I think it's going to work well right there. So now we need to know how far back our holes are. And it looks like we're 9/16. Oh, excuse me, 1 inch and 9/16. So we need to go to 2 and 9/16 to get our overhang. And 1/2 of 5/8 is 3/8. Okay. And then we can take our scribe again. Alright, I'm going to get the mill set up to drill and countersink these, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, set up over the first hole here. Let's get the mill turned on and we'll get to work. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get a countersink ordered for this, and we'll move on to the next step. Alright guys, I know the camera's a little dark right now. I think I hit a button. Anyhow, so got our angle iron cut. That's going to be the part that tips up and bends our metal. Got our hinges in place. Just have to tack these in, make sure they're nice and straight. If you're doing this, you got your hinge. It's 2 parts, right? Make sure you only weld 1 part to each piece. Alright guys, I'm going to let that cool down and we'll be back. I got the hold down piece cut to length, But this is a step that you wouldn't have to take if you weren't an idiot like me. Okay, maybe not an idiot. I'm still waiting for that countersink, so I need to clearance it so it clears those bolt heads so we can continue on with the build. So we're just gonna mill a little slot here I got marked out on each end. The middle 2 bolts we'll just leave out for right now. I don't want to take any metal out of the middle if I can avoid it. This is over out of the way pretty much, so it's at the end. So we'll go ahead and mill a little slot here and move on. Okay, so now you can see it'll slide over the heads of those enough to get us into where we need to be, which is somewhere right about there. Okay, next is the hold down bolts. Now, a lot of guys will just drill right through, put a flat, and then drill right through here to hold it down. You can tell there's some warp to it too, so. We want it right there. Don't need this to come all the way up. This is for bending 90s. We just want it a little bit past 90 to take up for any slack. So I'm going to make a little bracket that'll weld onto the end here that our bolt can go through. Alright, I got these cut, but they don't fit. They've got to do some clearance for the weld here and for the hinge, so I want them to be more this way. So we're just going to take the angle grinder, flap disc, and just nip off the corners until we get it to fit the way we want it to. Okay, now those fit in there nice. Next thing we have to do is lay out for our holes. Holes drilled. I've got a piece of steel as a shim. I'm just going to line that up and tack it in place. Okay, tacked in. Now we go ahead and weld it up. These need to get welded down to the plate underneath. Then you drop your springs on, then you screw down a nut to hold it down, just like every other homemade brake on YouTube, or just about every other homemade brake. Well, of course I got some burrs on there. Why wouldn't I? The spring just pops it up so you can get your metal out. Those were just some that I had in the drawer. Alright guys, the next thing we need is a pair of handles to move this thing up and down with. Kind of looked at it a little bit and decided about 18 inches would be pretty good. Something like that. I think that'll work pretty good. So you got a little corner curve in here. So to get that up tight, it would lean unless you ease over that corner a little bit so it can fit up tight in there, round that over a little bit. So that's the first thing we'll do. Alright. Oh yeah, much better. I thought about making these handles removable and then decided no. So I'm just going to tack them here. Okay, next step of this is to put an A-frame on here so we can put some down pressure right in the center. Keep the center down. Right now you can see that these aren't clamped tight, they're just finger tight. But I can still feel it moving. So let's go ahead and just flip that up out of the way so you don't walk into it, and see what I got to make the A-frame out of. Found a piece of threaded rod, a 3/8 16, a 3/8 16 standard nut, an oversized nut, and a 1/2 inch nut that this will slide into and not move. This is our keeper to go on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten out this little spot right here so I can get a good weld on that to hold that in place. Got my center marked here, so we're just going to kind of line it up there and weld it in place. For the moment I'm just tacking it in place. So this will go in here like this. That's a little long though. That looks like it might be about right. Inches. So we want a little bit of freeboard there for. So we'll cut this at say 7.5 inches. Now we need to connect it to the ends. Looks like 27 3/8 will work. Got some 3/8 round bar. We'll use that. Kind of eye this up here. Now it's a little long, I think. I'm going to flatten this end a little bit so it matches up to the nut a little bit better. Looks pretty good. Got to do the same thing on this one because there is a gap here. You can see it. Well, I can see it. It's a hair low in the middle, and there's just a slight gap at the middle. So we're going to do the same thing on the inside of this. Much smaller, of course. We only need to come from here. Well, actually, we still can come from the outside, but we'll make it much shorter, and it's going to be out here at an angle. Then we'll be ready to give it a try. Okay, well, I designed this to bend 20 gauge. Let's see what we got over here in the rack. We'll give it a nice long bend, just to see. Yeah, not great. Not the Christmas bend, but I'll see if we can get you guys a shot of that. It's got a pretty good curve to it, but it'll work for what I need this to do. I may come back and flatten out this front edge, because right now when you clamp it down, it's got a curve to it. It's just a standard piece of angle iron. If we grind that flat, then it'll pinch down tighter and give you a sharper bend. But I think we're pretty good. So this will do what we need it to do. I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit. A little grinding, a little flap disc, a little wire wheel action. And I may even throw a coat of paint on it. We'll wait and we'll see. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't yet, go down and hit that subscribe button. And as always, give us a thumbs up if you liked what we did here today. Catch you in the next one. It's a musical instrument too. What are you still watching for? Go click on another one of my videos. Like one that are on the screen right here.